Christina, thank you for joining me for our annual tradition. I think, how many years have we done this? Is it 4 years in a row now? It's been a while. We've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, Jake. Always a pleasure to come on and talk about holiday cards and whatever the Christmas topic is of the year. It's always a joy.
This year, we are going to definitively decide what is the best Christmas movie. So, there's no other debate after this.
Yeah, well, at least like how we feel today.
True.
Sometimes you're in the mood for a different kind of movie than you usually like. So
it's true. Yeah. Like even looking at our list that we put together, I think it was 2 years ago we did our top 10 Christmas movies. Like some of those, I'm like, would that be 2 or 3 now for me? I don't know. I might switch them around. So, yeah. And we could have some shocks if people remember or go back and look at our top 10 list. They might be like, wait a second, Jake said this last time, and this 2 years ago. I feel differently. Who knows? Sure.
I'll be on that train. I'll definitely be feeling differently, I'm sure.
So we want to start off talking about Santa cards. I know that you've got some data to pull up. While you're pulling that up, I want to share with you a Santa card I recently got into my collection that I think you'll enjoy. The other thing, too, I did want to share with you, I got this out special. I didn't wear a Christmas sweater this year, but I did wear, you can't really see it. This is a Michael Jordan Beam Team shirt. So to kind of pay homage back to the House of Jordan's days, I thought this was appropriate. And it's a great Christmas gift for a card lover. It doesn't matter if they already have the card. Get another Beam Team. It doesn't have to be Jordan, but it can be too. So while you're pulling up the data, I'm going to pull this out. Some people might know, just from looking at this, what this could be. Got an NFL logo with a little Christmas wreath. We open up the box. I'm not hiding anything from anybody. We get rid of this thick bubble mailer. We've got a nice red velvet bag. Like this is the real deal. This is how they did things in the 90s. We've got a little note here. I'm not going to open this up, but it's basically like a note from Santa. Okay. So this is something coming directly from him. You open up this package, and inside, I'm not going to take it out of the plastic wrap, but you have got in a thick lucite, you've got an autograph card of Mrs. Claus and Santa himself. And these are the way that they would come in the 90s. So there are ones that are serial numbered.
Perfect. Yeah, I was going to say, can you tilt it forward a little? Yeah, they look great.
So I was looking at buying these the last National in Chicago, not in this packaging. They were just loose, but they were these ones. So there are ones that are stamped. They kind of have a stamp in the corner, and they're serial numbered. Those, I don't know if they're pack pulled, but you got them different ways. And this is one that was packaged this way for like club members. I think you had to do something with Pro Set. There are 500 copies of this combination. So something
That's
fun.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was very happy to find it in the original packaging. So something cool.
Yeah, for sure. A great gift for the Santa card lover.
Only 500 Santa card lovers can really love it that much.
That's true. Okay, well, I didn't prepare those cards, but now you've given me a task to add before Christmas.
I don't know. Those are interesting ones to find because they sell differently if they have some of the packaging or none of the packaging or all of the packaging. Right. So that would be quite a task to add into card ladder.
Yeah, we'll have to do like with packaging.
Right.
Like how some of the 90s cards, we like separate them with coding, without coding.
True.
We'll have to do like with packaging, without packaging.
Right.
All right, so let's jump into Santa stats.
Mm-hmm.
So we have on the ladder the 1989 Pro Set Santa Claus in PSA 10 and SGC 9.5. We have the 1990 PSA 10. And then we recently added, for this programming, the 2022 Donruss Downtown of Santa Claus in a ton of grades. And then also the hollow 1 of 1 from Clearly Donruss, which we'll get into that sale in a second. But let's do the update on the 89 Pro Set PSA 10.
Yeah. Where's that at now?
So over the last year, the card has sold. Let me just pull it up. The card has sold 16 times, with its highest sale being $788.
Okay.
The card recently sold on the 10th, so 3 days ago from now, so December 10th, for $467.59.
So not the highest in the last year, though.
No, yeah, we saw a come down. I guess last minute Christmas shopping works out for some people. On November 25th, the card sold for $719. So we see that it's dropped almost $250.
Yeah.
Forgive me, like I'm bad at math on the top of my head. I usually use a pencil and paper, or Josh has a lot of card letter stuff built in so that I don't have to math at all. Thank you, Joshua. Right. And but so the card from its peak last year on December 17th has gone down $320 till today.
Interesting.
The graph, if you guys look, it kind of bounces all over the place. There's some lulls. The lowest it sold for was in August of 2024, and that was a $400 sale. So jumping, and this is for the PSA 10 of the 1989 Pro Set Santa.
The rookie.
Yes. Similar story with the SGC 9.5 of this card. It sold in January of 2024 for $227.51. And that is the highest it sold in the last year. Today,
in January. Interesting.
Yeah. So someone was feeling the Christmas spirit at the end of January and
spending their Christmas gift money. That's no doubt.
Maybe an eBay gift card was obtained as a stocking stuffer, and they were like, you know what? Santa gives and Santa returns.
There you go.
The current price was for the last sale was November 28th, and that was for $70. So this card, this grade went down $157.
$70 seems like a steal.
I was very surprised at that. The lowest the card sold for was in October of this year, October 17th, for $24. Yeah.
I did pick up a copy. I'm trying to remember how much I paid for mine. It was probably the one I got. Was it a year or two ago? Either way, it had said that it was damaged in the listing. And I was like, yeah, that's fine with me. And I got it in. I'm like, this is not damaged. Thank you very much for saying it was, because it looks fine. I mean, I'm not grading it, but yeah. Interesting.
Okay. And then we have the 1990 Pro Set Santa PSA 10. So this is a second year card. And on December 24th, 2023, last year, the card sold for $320. But then in February, it jumped to $550.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
February.
Yeah. I was surprised by this data. I was just like, wait, what is happening? So the one thing I will say about the Christmas Eve sale of this card was it was an auction. So it could potentially be that a lot of people were focusing on family events,
right,
and going to bed early because Santa's coming. So they might have missed the sale.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah. But
interesting.
Yeah. And then it sold December 10th as well, just like the 89 did. And this time it sold for $350.
Okay.
So still a bargain from the February sale.
Yeah.
But up $30 from the December 24th sale last year.
Wow. February.
And then we have the 2022 Panini Donruss Downtown Santa.
I'm really interested in the data on this one because I have a saved search and I take a look at these, and they're at a price that it's too high for me to justify buying that over other PC stuff.
Yeah, what grade are you looking at?
I'm looking at anything that pops up, any grade, raw, as long as like
Okay.
I've seen some that are in pretty rough shape. And I'm like, I'm all set with that. But anything.
Yeah. So just to give everyone, we'll start at raw. So the 2022 Donruss Downtown Santa Claus in raw condition, over the past year has sold 72 times, and the lowest price was $190 over this year, and the highest price was $800.
Yep.
And that 800 number came in on October 16th, 2024. So
early Christmas shopping.
Very early. And then just for record, the 190 came in on March 22nd, 2024.
Yeah.
So post holiday, post St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Spring is an odd time to sell a Santa card.
Yeah. Hoping people forget about it and someone picked it up for relatively cheap, considering the card averages at $415 raw.
Yeah, I remember watching. I mean, I don't remember the date, but I remember the sale price, and I remember watching it, and it was low for a while. And I set my snipe, but it was a low snipe, and I'm thinking the same thing. Springtime, obviously I didn't bid 190. So one day, just keep waiting.
So the PSA 9 copy of this card has sold 40 times in the last year. The lowest price of the season was on December 25th, surprisingly, at $330.
Was that an auction?
Let's jump in and find out. It was an auction.
Okay.
So I guess what we're learning here is, like, on holidays, pay attention to that auction because a lot of people will be busy.
Yeah, or don't sell your card if you're the seller.
Yeah.
Super Bowl Sunday might not be a good day to sell cards. Maybe wait a day after or a day before. Yeah. Same thing with Christmas.
Yes, like ending. Like if it's a best offer, like go ahead, list it.
Right.
But don't end your auction on a major event day.
Yeah.
So the highest this card has sold was $853, and that was on October 26th. That was also an auction.
So $850 for the PSA 9, and it was around there for the raw, right? For the all-time high.
Yeah, so the raw was $800 high price. So it must have been a really good looking copy.
Right.
To justify $50 over the raw.
Yeah.
Or it must have been a really good copy to justify $50 under the PSA 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I follow what you're saying.
Yeah. For the SGC 10, it's only sold once in the last year, and that was on November 5th, 2024. And it sold for $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have the PSA 10. Do you want to give an estimate of what you think this card regularly sells for, or a high or a low? Like, just throw some numbers out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because usually these don't make it onto my watch list because they just go for crazy numbers, and I'll see sometimes, like, when I'm looking at the sales. I'm gonna say, keeping in the holiday spirit, I'm gonna say 2,500 ish.
Okay. Is that your high?
Yeah, that's my high.
Okay. Do you have like an average you want to throw out there?
An average, I'm gonna say 1,700.
Okay. And do you have a low?
A low.
Figure that out based on your high and your average.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna stay with something that's I'm trying to 7 is 2 plus 5, so let's go with 1,300. We got the 3 in there for 5 minus 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hit one number pretty close,
Okay.
but for the wrong category.
Oh boy.
So I'll give everyone a minute to like consider which way this is gonna go. But the low price was actually $800.
Okay. Wow.
The high price was $1,750.
Okay.
And the average price is actually $1,238 and
Okay. Okay. That didn't go as badly as I was hoping. Or I was thinking it might. Because I was thinking when you said that I got the wrong category, I was like, if the average is 2,500, you know, we're in trouble.
I kind of set it up like that purposefully. I wanted everyone to think that. To then be like, oh, it's not that bad. Like I could afford that.
the low price isn't 900 for a 10 when we just talked about 800. Yeah. The high price on a 9 was 850 and the high price on a raw was 800. So for that to go for the low to be in line with a high of a 9 and the high of a raw.
I will say though, if you go onto Card Ladder and do a compare all grades, you'll see that the numbers line up over the time span.
Okay.
It's the low of 800 was December 21st of 2023. So like all of these December, like right around Christmas is when there's like deals on these cards.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind if you're interested in buying a Santa card this year. Keep this data in mind because it might be best to look right around the holiday.
Right. Now I'm curious, what's the total graded pop
of
the downtown?
Of all?
Or just all grades, all
okay, let me
companies
check
that you get there.
So the PSA 10 has 79 pop. Let me just go to all pop so that I can figure this out for everyone.
And the reason why I'm asking while you're pulling that up, just to give you some time, is I have a card I got 2 copies of. I'm not trying to pump the card, so don't accuse me of that. But so I got the Leaf. This is like a poor man's version of a downtown. I really like it. I think it's really cool. And these are serial numbered, so you know how many there were. There's 165 of these, and these things go for. And I haven't looked recently. I think I got these for right around $20 a piece. Like I said, I've got 2 of them. And I'm sure if you get a significant number, like 25 out of 165, it'd probably go for more.
Right.
But I'm curious, in comparison, how many there are of those versus the downtown.
I'll tell you that there are more downtown PSA 9s than there are total Leaf cards.
Interesting. Right? Okay.
So there are 168 PSA 9s graded. The total pop in PSA is 266.
Okay. Now, I just want to make sure everybody understands. I'm not saying that this is an undervalued card. Like these things, I think you had to you went on the website and like purchased them, like pre-ordered them. I think it was like a Tops Now type of thing because they come in a Leaf, and they get shipped to you. Whereas like the downtowns, those are randomly inserted into packs and they are ridiculous odds. So there might be more of them in circulation, but finding them is not easy.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I do have the SGC 10 of this. Did I already do this?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, wait, no, this data looks.
But how many? Does it say how many there are in SGC grades?
It does. Hold on, let me pull that back up. Let us see. Actually, I don't have the pop. I added these last night at 3 a.m. After I did sales last night. So we don't have the pop yet. Give me 24 hours and that pop will be populated.
So by the time that I edit this video, I might have it to insert in there. So
Yeah.
All right. All right. So let's get into the bracket.
Wait.
Okay.
One more card.
That's right.
One more card. We have the clearly Don Russ Santa Claus Downtown Hollow 1 of 1.
Yes.
This card sold once this past year / all time.
What year was this one made? Because this wasn't 2022, right?
This was also 2022.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's the same exact card. It's one
Yeah.
of the Donruss, like Donruss
But
comes
it's
out.
acetate.
It's like the paper version, except it has downtowns and some inserts that are hollow, or like refractor silver. And then there's the optic, and then there's the clearly Donruss, and like usually those all follow the same picture insert pattern of Donruss. They're just paper, hollow, and then acetate. Now the clearly Donruss Santa sells for less than the regular. The raw right now is valued at $470, but and the PSA 10 is $1,500, so like not that far off from the Donruss Santa downtown regular. But the downtown hollow 1 of 1. Do you want to take a stab at a guess?
Oh boy, I'm going to say 2,500 for this one.
Okay, on June 16th,
bad time.
This card made its appearance on eBay as an auction, and it went for $3,234.71.
Oof. Is it raw?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wonder if the person who bought it ended up getting it graded.
I was not able to find it graded. But again, I was doing this at 3 a.m. So forgive me if I missed it on one of the platforms. If you find it, guys, like that it was graded, shoot me a message on Instagram and I'll get it added to the ladder. But yeah, so that's the wrap up for Santa Stats.
Wow. Well, it's one of those that I kind of have, not many modern cards are in my checklist for stuff on my PC, but the downtown is definitely one. And I was very patient to get my penny kaboom. It was selling low. I said I'll put it off. It went sky high, and I was patient. I waited until I think probably 2023, and I finally got it. So maybe if I wait until 2047, I'll get the downtown.
There you go.
All right, so the brackets. Let me share with you the pools. So I tried to do this like the NCAA selection committee, but this time it wasn't a committee; it was a committee of one, I should say. So all the pain and vitriol of these teams gets directed at me. So the number ones, the 4 number ones that we had based on our lists and also some lists on the internet that seemed to be pretty popular. We have the Polar Express, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the one from 2000, the live action with Jim Carrey. We have A Christmas Story and It's a Wonderful Life. For the 2 seeds, we have Santa Claus, Christmas Carol 2009, the Walt Disney version. This is with also Jim Carrey in it. We've got Die Hard, Home Alone, the first one. 3 seeds, we've got Home Alone 2. We've got Miracle on 34th Street from 1994. We've got Elf, Miracle on 34th Street from 1947. And then for the 4 seeds, we've got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Muppet Christmas Carol, Love Actually, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, we've got 32 teams. I'm not going to go through, what we had 5, 6, 7, 8 seed pools because I don't think people will, be able to figure it out.
Right.
So that's what we've got for those pools, and then we've dispersed them out throughout. So this is going to be interesting. The other thing too, I just wanted to mention the inspiration for us to do this was there was an Instagram post that crowned Home Alone as the number 1 Christmas movie, and they kind of did the same type of bracket stuff. And I was looking at the comments, and there was a lot of consternation over some of the selections. It seemed like there was a lot of kind of willing certain movies to do better than others. There wasn't a lot of thought put into, there were some heavy hitters that would face each other early on and stuff like that. So tried to avoid some of those pitfalls so we could get a true reflection and see if our selection is the same as theirs. We'll see. So with that in mind, let's start. I'm going to kind of go through I'm not going to call it anything specific. Let's just say, region number 1. Okay. So we've got the 1 versus 8. So we've got Polar Express versus Bad Santa.
I've never seen Bad Santa, so I'm gonna go with Polar Express.
Yeah, and I've never seen Bad Santa either, which I think means it's a bad movie, and Polar Express was my number one. So,
Okay, yeah.
all right, the next matchup we've got is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and Hallmark Christmas movies, just the whole genre. So that was one of the ones on your list.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Hallmark Christmas because I've never actually seen the entire Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to fight you on that one. I have seen the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean, it's fun, but there's some stuff about it that I'm just like, eh. And also hearing more about like the background of how it was made and some of the stuff, it didn't seem like it was a very fun production. So,
okay, I don't know any of those stories, but
I mean, there's nothing too like scandalous. It just seems like there's a lot of the people didn't get along very well that worked on it.
Okay.
So, and I think that carries through on some of the stuff that you see that happens on screen.
Yeah, I just know the famous or infamous, I guess, like clips from it, like Shitter's Full, like where he cuts the turkey and it's just like is empty, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some fun hijinks that happen in there, but I think it's, to me anyway, it's not one that has a lot of nostalgia for me. I didn't grow up with it. It was around when I grew up, but it wasn't something that my family watched. And there's like some moments that are fun, but like as a whole piece, it doesn't really resonate with me.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm sure we're gonna catch some flack for that because I think that's a
I mean, we're like 0 for 2 on comedies, so like I think
we'll see how comedies fare. That's a good point. All right, so the next one we've got is Nightmare Before Christmas versus Miracle on 34th Street. This is the 1947 version. That's one thing that I wanted to make sure we did in this one. The other list that I saw did not have different versions of the same story. They didn't have like Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2. So we've got some of those in here. But this is the older version.
Okay. I'm going to have to go with 34th Street. I love the old version of that movie.
Good. I thought I might have to fight you on that one. I was like, I don't know how you feel about Nightmare Before Christmas. I do not consider it a Christmas movie. It's a Halloween movie.
Okay.
I have watched it, but I don't watch it regularly. Miracle on 34th Street. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're aligned so far. So this is interesting.
Surprising.
I think we're gonna have some fights later on. I can tell.
Okay, good.
All right, so the next one. This is round one, right? This is when stuff's supposed to go chalk, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I expected this for round one.
Okay.
All right, so the next matchup is Four Christmases versus Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is one where I knew where you were going to go, and I don't have a strong draw to either one. So I'm going with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the question. Do we want to continue going through all the first round matchups, or do we want to go to round 2 for this region?
Ooh.
Because we could see this region all the way through, and we know who's going to be in the final 4, and then go through the other regions, or we could do all round 1s and then all round 2s.
I feel like it's kind of cheating to do the whole thing, like the whole bracket for this region at once, but I can see the justification being like, these are all fresh in your mind. Let's just get it down to 1.
Okay.
So I don't know. This is how you're the host.
So let's do this region. That's the way that I fill out my brackets. I go region by region, and then I go, oh, geez, that Final Four didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. So all right. So the next one we've got is Polar Express versus Hallmark Christmas movies.
Hallmark Christmas movies.
See, this is where I know we're gonna have some fights.
Okay.
Polar Express is my pick here.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's my number 1.
Yeah.
My thing with Hallmark Christmas movies, if we said the last time, right? Hallmark Christmas movies, they're all the same storyline. You just put different actors in different settings. And so, we're not really fighting between like, oh, well, this one has fun stuff. But like the Polar Express, just looking at the soundtrack, there are songs that have become like Christmas staples from Josh Groban on the soundtrack. I've never heard of a Hallmark Christmas movie getting, any sort of music that people are like, oh, this is part of my holiday tradition?
Look, I will give you this one, but you're going to have a fight in the next round because I don't really like this movie.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm here
I
for
will
it.
give it to you because, you could only watch so many women give up a high-powered job where she's successful in a city.
For the guy that's a tree farmer.
Yeah. Though it would be nice to live on a tree farm. Hoj, I'm expecting one for Christmas. But,
A whole tree farm for Christmas?
A whole tree farm. Yeah, buy me the whole tree farm and let's move there.
Okay.
But yeah. So I'll give it to you, especially because I haven't watched one at all.
Okay.
In over a year. So I know that's going to be surprising for people, but I just don't have time to sit and watch.
You haven't watched one yet this year?
I don't foresee myself watching one, to be honest. But yeah. Yeah, I'll give you Polar Express this time, but prepare yourself because you're going to have to make an argument next round.
Right. I'm going to have to add to the argument, I guess. All right, so the next matchup is Miracle on 34th Street from 1947 versus Die Hard.
Ooh. I'm going to have to go Die Hard.
Okay, so my vote would be for Miracle on 34th Street.
I get that. We should really have a tiebreaker somehow.
Yeah. So it's been a while since I've watched Die Hard all the way through. So give me your argument for Die Hard to beat Miracle on 34th Street.
Well, the thing with Die Hard is it's a action Christmas movie. So it's a there's not many. They're trying to bring back this genre that barely exists. I think this year with Captain America and The Rock. I don't know their real names. So
Red One.
Yes, I meant the actors, but yes, that's the movie where
gotcha.
They're trying to bring that genre to life with yeah. And I think they did one last year. I never watched it. Where
there was also Violent Christmas a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah, wasn't that the one where there was a home invasion and Santa arrived?
That.
Yeah.
I think so.
And to deliver the gifts, and then Santa became the hero of that story.
Sounds right.
Yeah, so it seems like they're trying to make this again, but I don't know, there's just, it might be it's a movie that I watched with my father, kind of a thing. He was really into those 80s, 90s action movies, and then this one was Christmas. So
yeah, okay.
But I just I think in order to be a good Christmas film, Christmas has to be central to the theme. Sure. They're at a Christmas party.
Yeah.
You have to have a hero and a villain.
Okay.
You have the German bad guys and John Bain, I think his name is in the film. Bruce Willis, whatever his name is in the film. And then you have to have either a song or a catchphrase that associates immediately with that movie. And yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, I think counts. And yeah. So
that's a good point to think of, because for catchphrases, that is one of the more iconic movie catchphrases. Yeah. I guess my argument more so against Die Hard is it a movie that just so happens to take place during a Christmas party, or does it really have Christmas theming throughout it? Whereas I think the whole theme of Miracle on 34th Street is Christmas. I mean, the whole genesis of it was, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. They had to replace the Santa that just so happened to be with the real Santa, right place, right time. And then he has this mission to get this girl and her mother to believe in him and the spirit of Christmas. And then it culminates on Christmas Day with the girl actually getting what she really wanted for Christmas. And he just magically gave them the directions to go this different way because of whatever at a Christmas party. And then also the postal service making their declaration that Santa's a real person and he was the one on trial.
Yeah. Okay, fine. You win again.
Okay.
But let the record show, I did try to put up a good fight.
Yes.
Because Die Hard's an awesome movie.
It's a valiant effort.
Thank you.
See, I think the thing with Die Hard that it gets it a lot more Christmas credit is because it's an overall good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to like a lot of the other there's a lot of Christmas movies, let's be honest, that aren't great movies.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So then for the Elite 8 matchup in this bracket, we've got Polar Express versus Miracle on 34th Street from 1947.
34th Street.
Okay. I'm gonna give you that one. As much as I have a lot of arguments for Polar Express, they're all like just personal nostalgia.
Yeah, I bet you're kicking yourself now because I probably would have folded against Die Hard.
It's I want this to happen the way it's supposed to happen.
Okay.
And I think that the vast majority of people would probably agree with you because, like, objectively, again, Polar Express is one of those movies, like the CGI in that is really bad. They should redo it. It creeps a lot of, like, my kids love it, but there's a lot of kids that get creeped out by it, and that's not good for a Christmas movie. There are some scenes in there that's just kind of like, they leave you scratching your head, like, why is this in there? It's not a perfect film. I think it is ripe for a remake, and, I would love Pixar to do that, but,
Also, like, I, as a kid, was a huge fan of the book. And, like,
yes,
Christina,
absolutely.
The books are always better. Like, surprise, surprise. But, like,
it's a short book,
I was disappointed in the film when I saw it, like, when I was younger. Like, when I was a kid. Like, I was literally disappointed that that's the way they went with it. Because it just... Yeah, it went too gimmicky on the story. Like, the story is wholesome and pure. And, like, they made it, like, a little too... I don't know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. There's some kind of cheesy moments in there. There's some ones that they added in that I think are nice, but there are some that, like, you could have added some, like, you need to stretch the story, because again, if you just do the book the way it is, it's going to be pretty short. But
it's going to be like a 30-minute Christmas special,
but I think that's okay.
Been a horrible thing.
Yeah,
like,
you could do a short that's on streaming services.
Yeah. I think they should redo it and stay true to the actual story. Like, literally, like, BBC Pride and Prejudice style, where it's, like, word for word, frame by frame, what the story is saying.
Yeah.
And then I think you would have an amazing movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kids' attention spans are really short. It's okay if it's not 2 hours long.
It really is. Yeah. I'm with you there.
Okay.
All right, let's go to bracket 2. Round 1. So the first matchup we have here is How the Grinch Stole Christmas 2000.
Wait, so I'm sorry, is Miracle on 34th Street the winner of that bracket?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
For some reason I thought we had another. Okay.
Nope, that's the one for that bracket.
Okay, perfect.
So bracket 2, we've got How the Grinch Stole Christmas 2000, Jim Carrey, versus Scrooged.
Ooh. How the Grinch. I don't think I've ever seen Scrooged.
I have. I don't know if I've ever sat down to watch it all the way. I've seen the whole movie, but I don't think I've seen it all the way through in one setting. I like the premise of it, but I think the execution falls a little flat for me anyway.
Okay.
There's some fun moments in there though. All right, the next
is that a
matchup,
comedy?
Yeah, because it's got Bill Murray as like kind of this. He's kind of the Ebenezer Scrooge type of character in the movie. The thing with him is he's too funny and likable to really be like this crotchety old man that you want to dislike. So they really try to make him seem like a bad person, but it's Bill Murray at the end, and I'm like, I just like him. I want to like this guy. So yeah.
Okay.
That's my opinion anyway.
Also, comedies don't seem to fare well with us. That's fine.
Apparently we are not funny enough people.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're so funny that we don't need to see the funny on our screens.
Yeah, we're so funny that, like, well, that's not gonna. I mean, we're gonna have a comedy go pretty far in the future.
I'm sure.
As long as it's part of the bracket. So
I'm sure we will. Yeah.
Yeah. There's one in particular that it's the 25th anniversary this year that I imagine will go pretty far.
So that was 1999. I'm not positive I remember which one you're talking about. I'm sure you'll remind me of that when we get there.
Okay.
All right. So we've got
20th,
Muppet.
maybe it was 20th anniversary. I thought it was. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Okay. I'm mathing wrong.
All right. So the next one we've got is Muppet Christmas Carol versus Charlie Brown Christmas.
Ooh, I'm going to have to go Muppet Christmas Carol because this is an island in the sun.
Well, and so this is a tough one. I think a lot of people would have Charlie Brown Christmas going really far in the bracket. Yeah. I love Charlie Brown Christmas. My kids like it. It's a slow one though. And like the Muppet Christmas Carol, like that was the Christmas Carol movie that I grew up on.
Yeah,
me too. It's fun. Like, yeah. And my kids like both of these movies. So sometimes like my kids, I kind of see things through their eyes. They like both of them. I don't know if they like either one more than the other, but yeah, I go Muppet Christmas Carol with you. You're
gonna have to ask them tonight which one do they want to watch, and
yeah,
you know which one is the better movie. Do you want to watch Muppets? I'm a Kermit fan, like so.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Snoopy's cool, but I don't have that feeling towards him that I do Kermit.
Yeah, Fozzie, Gonzo.
Waka Waka.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. We've got next up is Jingle All the Way versus Elf.
Elf.
Yeah. Not even a question for me.
That's the one I was talking about.
Yes.
I don't know.
That's what I thought. Okay.
21 years maybe this year? I don't know.
I think that came out in 2004, so it would be 20 years.
20 years. Okay. I remember seeing that with my friend. And like when the announcement came out that it was like 20 years ago this year, I like sent it to her and I was like, what do you mean? Like we just saw this like 2 years ago in the movie theater together. And she was like, girl, we are older than that. Stop it.
I know it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but yeah. You know, what's his name? Will Ferrell's brother's jacket is a little dated at this point, you know, and the hat that he wears. He wears like a very oversized, you know, like a puffer jacket with one of those beanies that has the brim on it, like the little tiny brim. It's a very early 2000s look.
I still have a beanie like that and I rock it every year. Okay. J. Crew for the win. It's timeless. Okay, Jake, it is timeless.
Okay. All right.
I will also fight you on this. I have lost that hat like 4 different times.
Okay.
And each time that I've lost it, it has not been in the lost and found, but like someone has put it behind a counter because they're trying to keep it.
Oh.
And then when I tell them I lost it, they're like, oh yeah, we found that. I wanted
Interesting.
It. Here you go. And Hosh can vouch for that because he's been with me every single time I've lost.
I had one of those at one time in the early 2000s. I think I lost mine. I never got it back. I never tried to replace it. So
yeah, because someone stole it. You didn't really lose it.
Maybe they did. All right, the next one we've got here is Home Alone, the first one, versus Christmas with the Cranks.
Home Alone.
Yeah, it's another easy one. Christmas, if I remember correctly, Christmas with the Cranks did surprisingly well in that bracket that I saw on Instagram, and I could not understand it. But
my little brother loves that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some fun ideas about it, but I mean, the whole premise is this couple that loved Christmas that now is like, we hate Christmas and we're not doing any of the Christmas stuff.
I don't think they hate Christmas. It's that like their kids are grown and not coming home. So they're like, why are we going to stress about it? Let's just go on vacation.
I mean, yeah, but like just put out your Christmas decorations.
To not be home for? That's a lot. That's a lot.
Just put them out.
That's a lot.
You don't have to do all of it. Don't do all of it. Just do a couple little strings of light. Enough to, you know, make sure that people know that you still care. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
But either way,
Either way, it's gone. Yeah.
exactly. Never to be spoken about again. All right, round 2 for this one. We've got How the Grinch Stole Christmas 2000 versus Muppet Christmas Carol. This is a tough one. This is a tough one.
I really want to pick the Muppets, but like, that's just childhood talking. I think I have to go with Jim Carrey's Grinch.
Okay, that's where I was going to cast my vote too. So I didn't know if we were going to fight over that one.
No, I think I have to let it go.
This is a tough bracket because the next matchup we have is Elf versus Home Alone.
Ooh.
Right? I didn't even think through this when I was putting it together, but this is a tough region.
Yeah. Which way are you leaning?
I'm torn right now. I think if I had to pick, I think I'd give a slight edge to Elf.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm leaning right now.
So, like, I'm kind of at a disadvantage because I'm assuming you have Home Alone 2 on the bracket somewhere in the future, but I don't know that for certain.
Yeah, no, so Home Alone 2 got a 3 seed. Home Alone, this one is a 2 seed. But I made sure they were in different regions.
Yeah, I'll go with Elf.
Okay. Well, you know what? And Home Alone won the bracket that we are, using as our inspiration.
Right, but they didn't specify which one, remember? It was
I think I just assumed it was the first one, but yeah, that's a good point because I mean, they could have been looking at the fourth one for all we know, which was trash.
Do you remember I never saw the fourth one, but do you remember the third one?
It was really bad.
Awful.
Really bad.
Yeah. I remember that coming out when I was a kid, and like, I was just like, "What?"
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I remember watching it and like, okay, it's not going to be Macaulay Culkin, but I'm gonna hope for the best. And it was.
He had that bowl cut that was like everyone had.
Yeah, yeah. My brother had the exact same bowl cut. Yeah.
I think at one time I had a bowl cut, so.
I tried it at one point, but unfortunately, my curly wavy hair doesn't go well with a cut that definitely has to be done on straight hair. So. Yeah,
my sister also was a victim of the bowl cut with her curly hair. So
yeah, it doesn't work out well at all.
No, it doesn't.
No. All right. So
I need
the Elite 8 matchup we've got here. This is a tough matchup here. We've got How the Grinch Stole Christmas 2000 versus Elf.
I'm kind of leaning towards Jim Carrey over Will Ferrell.
Okay.
But I love Elf. And like, if I only could watch one of those movies, the Grinch, that's so tough. Okay, this is like our comedy.
And the thing, so I'm kind of torn between the two. Also, the thing has me leaning a little bit towards Elf is the Grinch is a little dark for some kids. Just in the color scheme, right? Not like the story or anything like that. And, Jim Carrey is so good at acting out the villainous Grinch that it scares some kids. But then again, there's some things that Will Ferrell does as an adult acting like a kid that you don't want your kids doing.
Like picking up gum off the side of the street?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Or talking to the little person and being like,
you're an angry elf?
Elves here? Yeah.
Yeah. Or, well, this isn't what I was thinking of. I was really thinking of the gum, but, putting a little bit of maple syrup that's not maple syrup in your coffee,
Oh, yeah. Also, like sneaking in on a girl taking a shower, probably not a good thing to do.
Yeah. My mother-in-law really has issues with that. She doesn't understand the context too well, but But at the same
time, like Grinch, it's such a good story. Like Elf is fun, right? Like
yes.
Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color?
Mm-hmm.
like hate, double hate. Like I'm just trying to like put them up against each other. But like
It's tough.
You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch is the better song. Like Elf has good songs, but
Elf has good songs that weren't made for the movie itself.
Yeah. At the same time though, Elf was original, whereas like Jim Carrey's Grinch was a remake of a cartoon classic.
True. An elaboration, I would say, not a remake, because the cartoon is short. It's really true to the book.
Yeah, which is what we want Polar Express to do. Is that on this list somewhere?
Yes, the 1966 Grinch is on this list. Was it 1966? Yeah, 1966. Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Grinch. What about you?
Yeah, I'm leaning that way as well. It's tough though. It's so close, but yeah, let's go with the Grinch. Sorry, Elf.
I should just leave this here, like while we talk.
Right. Oh, I just thought of Cottonhead and Ninny Muggins.
Oh,
I know. It's man. But okay.
I just sent this to my little brother the other day because he was ignoring me, as little brothers often do, via text message. It was the Will Ferrell where he's like, "I love you, I love you, I love you."
Yep. Yep. Oh, it's so good. Oh man, that is such like this. But this is what happens in the tournament, right? You've got a great team.
I saw a dog today. I think I like want to change my vote, but at the same time, like look, we're naming all these things about Elf that like are coming immediately.
Right.
That's not happening with Jim Carrey's Grinch. It's just like Jim Carrey is such a good Grinch that we're like, good. He makes that whole movie.
Yeah, he does. I do have a lot of nostalgia with that movie as well, which might be shading my opinion. So
I'm going with Elf.
Okay, yeah. If I take the nostalgia out and I add in the fact that like watching them with my kids, it's easier to get them to sit down to watch Elf. Yeah. Okay.
Bye, buddy. I hope you find your dad. Like, yeah.
Mr. Narwhal.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go with Elf. You know what's interesting?
Where he's like, "Stop looking at me, Arctic Puffin," or whatever he says, and he like, yeah. Yep.
Both the Elf and the Miracle on 34th Street were 3 seeds.
Interesting.
It is interesting. All right, the next group.
So a 3 seed beat the Grinch, which was a 1 seed.
Which was a 1 seed. Yep.
Okay. Upset. All right, let's go. Next region.
Next one, we've got A Christmas Story versus Gremlins.
I've never seen Gremlins. Christmas Story.
Yeah, I would go for Christmas Story also. I feel as though, I say the same thing with Die Hard. Gremlins isn't really a Christmas movie. It's a movie that just happens around Christmas time.
Didn't he get the gremlin for Christmas?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Also, though, I would like the record to show that Jake did not attend the National in Cleveland this year, so we could not go to a Christmas Story museum.
Yeah, it's true. I'm planning on being there in Chicago, so
shame.
We could yes.
Shame upon you and your household.
I'll take it all. I didn't bring you the Excedrin this year.
That's okay. Someone else did.
Okay, good.
Shout out Lauren. Like literally. But yeah, Christmas. I don't think we're ever going back to Cleveland for that.
Yeah, well, that'll be fine by me. Okay. Honestly, part of the reason why I didn't go is because it was in Cleveland, just because like the logistics to get there and everything like that. I was just like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy my time as much there, so I'm gonna sit this one out. So I don't think I'm going to regret that over the long run. But anyway, that's summer. That's Christmas in July is what national is to many of us. So the next one is Love Actually versus How the Grinch Stole Christmas 1966.
66.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to argue with you there. I don't like Love Actually very much.
Because I think you could say under your own qualifications, Love Actually just happens around Christmas time. It is a theme of many of the stories, but there are stories in Love Actually that have nothing to do with the Christmas. Like Mr. Darcy's story. like where he's writing a book in Portugal and he falls in love creepily with his maid who does not speak English and they never have a conversation, and yet he leaves his family on Christmas to go find her and propose to her, though they've never had a conversation, but like whatever. And then like the creepy guy who's like in love with his best friend's wife, and then she kisses him. Like it's just like, what are we doing here? And then there's like a whole porn like theme, like couple. No, we're good.
Yep.
Out.
Okay.
Goodbye.
First round oust. Next is White Christmas versus Home Alone 2.
Oof. I love White Christmas, but I'm gonna have to give it to Lost in New York.
Yep. And then we've got Arthur Christmas versus A Christmas Carol, the 2009 Walt Disney Jim Carrey version.
That's like weird CGI too, isn't it?
Better CGI, but yeah, there's some parts that get a little weird, a little choppy.
Arthur Christmas is
it's a more recent one. It was in the 2000s. Though. Yep. It's animated. Kind of. I'm trying to think. It's like it's not like a Pixar. It's a little bit more British themed.
Yeah. I don't really remember it. I remember watching it, but I don't think I ever saw it a second time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever saw Jim Carrey's Christmas Carol at all.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime I want to watch the Christmas Carol, I put on the Muppets.
The Muppet, yeah. The Jim Carrey one. So that's I give my vote to the Jim Carrey one.
Okay.
It's pretty true to the Dickens story.
Okay.
So it's more true to the Dickens story than the Muppet Christmas Carol, even though the Muppet Christmas Carol is not a Christmas Carol, right? Like they named it intentionally because it's inspired. So I give it to the Christmas Carol.
Okay, let's go with that.
All right. Round 2. Christmas Story versus How the Grinch Stole Christmas 1966.
I really like The Christmas Story. It's something that I watch every year for the 24 hours on Christmas Eve. Like I catch like different clips of it. But How the Grinch Stole Christmas is so good as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's true to the book.
Yeah.
My vote goes for the Grinch, but I also just don't really like Christmas Story.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
I'm going to say The Christmas Story, though. So,
okay.
Begin debate. Let's convince each other.
So for me, The Grinch Stole Christmas is one of the first ever like animated Christmas classics. It's been a part of Christmas celebrations now for almost 60 years. And then that's the first time that we got that. You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, which is like an absolute. I mean, it's hard to go to like a elementary school and not hear that song. And I remember going to visit a family member in a hospital, and it was around the holiday season. They had all the Grinch characters drawn on the windows and stuff. It's one of those. I mean, I might be a little biased because I do live in the birthplace, or not the birthplace, but where Dr. Seuss, museum is and everything like that. So, we do have a lot of Grinch stuff here, but that would be mine.
Okay. I agree with all those points. My counterpoints would be Randy, how does a pig eat when the little brother won't eat his dinner and like he just shoves his face into the plate. Starboy Randy, where he can't put his hands down and like the mom is like, put your hands down when you get to school, and then like continues to wrap him up and then sends him outside to walk to school.
Then he falls
and
over.
Then you have the tongue on the pole.
Yep, Double Dog Dare You.
That is classic.
It is.
And when the father wins a major award and he's like, Fred Geely, it must be Italian.
Yeah.
And like, you'll shoot your eye out is like the theme throughout the whole movie. Like
Yeah.
when this kid is asking for the Red Ryder BB gun, it's like everyone keeps telling him, "You'll shoot it your eye out." And what does he do as soon as he freaking gets it? He shoots an icicle which falls down into his eye, and like, yeah.
It's a lot of classic. My issue with the Christmas Story, and this could just be a me thing, it feels like it's kind of got like a somber note to it. Like, here's this kid retelling the story, and it's like all the things that went wrong for him or didn't go well, and I don't feel like the magic and the joy of Christmas in that movie. That's why I don't really like it.
I think that's why I like it, is because it's so real. Like, it's not some like fantastical retelling of some amazing moment in childhood. It's like a kid being like, these are my struggles. Like, I told my teacher and I wrote an essay about why I wanted this, and like I told Santa, and like the elf kicked me down the slide, like, or like, you know, like, and like it's just like every single time, like he's just like put down, and then he finally gets the toy that like, or the BB gun. It's not a toy. Yep. Guns are not toys, kids. But like, he gets the BB gun that he's been desiring this whole time. But the soap scene also is classic.
It is.
Again,
the
though,
bunny,
like
the bunny rabbit pajamas.
Yeah, like this movie is very popular within my family.
It's
like,
very popular in many families.
Yeah, I mean, I've bought my older brother, the BB gun, the soap, like multiple years. Like, I've bought him the soap that you have to special order from like England.
Okay.
Excuse me. Thank you. And the lamp. Like,
yes.
And I think my sisters bought him the bunny suit, like that he then had to wear like for a Secret Santa like exchange, like a funny one that we did one year. Like, and we all used to watch it as we helped my mom like wrap presents for our cousins like at the last minute on Christmas Eve before we went up to their house. So I think like I will give this one to you. I will admit that this is pure family nostalgia.
Okay.
And yeah, so.
Okay.
I guess I'll go with the Grinch. Like,
I was prepared to give it to you, but that's all right.
It's not like I have a mug of
right,
the Grinch in
right.
my hand right now.
I mean, those are two that it's like, it's really hard because they're so iconic for so many reasons for Christmas. So like there's some hard matchups still to come. All right, like the next one.
I like the Grinch. Like, he learned something. I don't know if he actually learned something from his story.
I mean, maybe he learned that he should have listened to his parents because, you know, look what happened when you got what you wanted. I don't know. Maybe not.
He doesn't have the like the Grinch returns everything and like cuts the rose.
That moment of catharsis almost.
Yeah, like you see the like turnaround.
Yeah.
The movie with Ralphie like ends after he shoots his eye out.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go Grinch.
Okay. So the next matchup we've got is Home Alone 2 versus Christmas Carol, the 2009 Walt Disney Jim Carrey that you've never seen. Yeah, Home Alone 2. Like, as much as I love that Christmas Carol, there are too many reasons to not give it the win. So, all right. So then we've got How the Grinch Stole Christmas, 1966 versus Home Alone 2.
This is tough. I'm gonna go Home Alone 2.
I'm going Home Alone 2.
Okay.
And just like that, we have our third 3 seed in the final 4.
How? Okay. You obviously like had some stacked.
Like, here's the funny thing is, like, I literally made the 1 seeds based on our number 1 picks, the 2 number 1 picks, and then the other 2 lists. So they're, you know, we have chosen not to pick our number 1 picks.
Yeah.
Because they're both out already. Which is interesting.
So I will say, like, I would have chosen Lost in New York over Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
if we
obviously I would
didn't
have.
go with the Grinch, like Home Alone still would have won.
Yeah.
Whether like whatever we picked the previous round.
Yeah.
Because who like as a kid who didn't want to like stay in the plaza and eat a sundae? Like he was Eloise before Eloise.
Right. Like, yeah, there's so many. Yeah. I mean, we'll get into more of that, I'm sure, in whatever the matchup is in the final four, because I'm sure it's going to be a doozy.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. So let's see who wins out of this next bracket.
Okay, let's go.
So the first matchup is It's a Wonderful Life versus Batman Returns.
Wonderful Life.
Yeah, easy peasy. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer versus Jingle Jangle.
Rudolph.
I don't know if you've seen Jingle Jangle.
I haven't.
Okay. I have a soft spot in my heart for Jingle Jangle, but Rudolph, I could make arguments either way. It's hard for me to argue against Rudolph, though.
Yeah.
Frosty the Snowman versus Miracle on 34th Street, 1994.
Remind me, is Frosty? No,
the cartoon.
Rudolph is the
stop motion.
Stop motion.
Yeah.
Okay. Frosty is the cartoon.
Yeah, and for me, the Rudolph one kind of encapsulates like all the stop motion. I think it's the best of the stop motion ones.
Agreed.
But if you want to sit there and talk about any of the other stop motion, because they're all kind of the same group produced them all at the same time.
Yeah, like the Year Without Santa Claus, I think is the same.
Yeah, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town is the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna probably. What are you leaning towards?
I'm leaning towards Miracle on 34th.
Yeah, that's the one with Matilda, right?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that one because when he starts speaking sign language to the little girl, it just it makes you tear up. You're just like, oh my god, yeah.
It's a great moment.
Yeah.
And the guy that they picked for the Santa Claus, I can't remember his name, but he's such a grandfatherly figure.
Yeah.
So
good casting in that movie.
Very good. Then the next matchup we've got is Jack Frost versus the Santa Claus.
The Santa Claus. Stop it.
Yeah. Easy peasy again. Okay. Round 2. We've got It's a Wonderful Life versus Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Rudolph.
Yep. I'm with you there. And then we've got Miracle on 34th Street, 1994 versus the Santa Claus.
If I'm doing it purely on what I want to if I had those two movies in front of me and I'm which one are you gonna watch, I would pick Santa Claus every time.
Yep, me too.
I love Miracle on 34th Street, but I don't rewatch it over and over again.
Right. Yep, Santa Claus. So then the Elite 8 matchup we have here is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer versus the Santa Claus.
You can make the argument for both. I love the Heat Miser.
The Heat Misers. There's a lot of fun characters in the Rudolph one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Santa Claus though.
Yeah, Santa Claus for me too. All right, so we've got our final four. So just to recap, the final four that we have here: Miracle on 34th Street, 1947, Elf, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, The Santa Claus.
Oh my gosh.
So, I'm thinking if we just are going to follow the brackets and the regions the way that they are, the first final four matchup is Miracle on 34th Street, 1947 versus Elf.
That's so difficult, Jake.
They're so different too.
I know. That's why I guess if I'm going with what I said for the Miracle on 34th Street 90s versus Santa Claus, which one would you just rewatch over and over again? I have to go with Elf.
Yeah, I would give it to Elf also. And I'm Miracle on 34th Street is something I love putting on. My kids roll their eyes. They'll sit with me for a 5-minute stint of it, and they'll roll their eyes. It's a black and white movie. I prefer the black and white version over the recolored one. And it's something I like putting on to have in the background while I'm doing something else. Versus Elf, I'll stop what I'm doing and watch certain parts of it.
Yeah.
So
Like just the song, like just the intro song, like, like,
yeah.
like you just like stop and you're just like, where? But I want to
Mhm.
point out 3 of our 4 top movies are based in New York City.
I don't think that's a coincidence. For me, anyway. I know you and I don't feel the same way about New York City, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of Christmas movies that are based in New York City, so I think that there's over representation of the city. Because I'm trying to think if there are any other Christmas movies that you can definitively say are based in a certain city.
Cleveland with Christmas Story.
Yeah, and then like Home Alone 1 really
1,
is in Chicago. Yeah.
suburbs.
I mean, Home Alone 2 has part of it in Chicago, but the bulk of it is New York. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Like,
yeah, no, I think that's an interesting theme, but yeah, again, for me, I'm not surprised.
Like, I would make an argument that like New York City is like when you're thinking about Christmas City, like who does Christmas the best in a city? Like New York is definitely top in America.
I'm trying to think, where was the Santa Claus based out of? Because I want to say it was somewhere like in Chicago.
Midwest. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Chicago, Minnesota type of area. I know it was filmed in Canada, but
I'm looking this up because it's going to bother me.
All right, while you're looking that up, the next matchup that we have is Home Alone 2 Lost in New York versus Santa Claus.
What? It says Illinois. That's all it says.
Okay, so say Chicago
Illinois
area
and North Pole.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the town of Lakeside in Illinois, fictional town.
Okay. You know what's funny is I'm trying to remember the town where the Home Alone house is. I want to say is something Lake something. The real town anyway, for the real.
Okay.
Yeah, it just came up for sale again.
Really? They like ruined the inside though. They like modernized it, and
it's like sanitized.
Doing? Yeah.
They also like if you look at the back of it, they did a lot of additions to leave the curb appeal for the front, but the back looks completely different. And like I saw a video that was like showing a tour of the house, and in the basement they have like a full half court basketball court. So you don't have the old creepy basement, which I mean, you can say there's pluses and minuses, but the thing that I miss about the back is like those stairs that are probably not the code anymore, going down to the back door to get into the basement. Those are gone because of all the additions. Like there was something else they put on the back. I think there's a movie theater back there now, or maybe that's in the basement also. Yeah, and they finished the attic. There's a bedroom in the attic where, obviously Kevin slept on the pull-out couch, but, wasn't finished.
They should have. Someone needs to buy that house, revert it to look exactly like the film, and then rent it out. People would rent that thing.
Yeah.
Like every week, I feel a year. And then you just have it set up for Christmas the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And people can like go there, spend Christmas with their families. Like if they're like take holiday photos and use them for holiday cards.
It's such a perfect, like a Airbnb for them, the company to buy it and do that. They would make a ton. Yeah, because I know there's, not a ton, but there are plenty of families that are not able to get together and celebrate Christmas on Christmas Day. That it's like this is an easy way for them to be like, hey, we're all going to go here. Oh, what date works out for all of us? March 22nd. That's going to be our Christmas Day. So, yeah.
I'm struggling with this one.
This is so tough for me too.
I love the Santa Claus.
Yep.
But Home Alone is such a classic film.
For me, I think I'm giving the edge in my mind to Home Alone 2 because for me, the Santa Claus, I love the beginning of it a lot more than I love the second half of the movie, right? I love, the everyday type of struggles of the family, and Charlie not really wanting to be with his dad, but like doing it, and like all the stuff with like the hijinks around cooking the meal and going to Denny's, and then Santa Claus coming, reading the book, him going in to the the beginning of the transformation into Santa, and then going to the North Pole, and like those scenes in the North Pole, all of that is like the best part of the movie to me. And then the rest of it is still good, but it's not as good. Whereas like Home Alone 2, I can't think of a part that I'm like, I don't care for that part.
Yeah, I agree. Like there's the whole like side storyline of like him losing visitation to his son because like, being Santa Claus, like,
right.
And then like you kind of hate the stepfather because like he's like a psychiatrist, but like psychiatry, like let's not even start, like and like where he's like yeah, I agree. I think I do love the like beginning of the film where they like tie in the book with like the ladder company, Rose C ladder company, where it's just like a rose such a clatter, like where it's just like, oh, this is so clever. And like Bernard is like awesome. But yeah, there is like, you're totally right. Like I think you have like the best parts of the film up front.
Yeah. That
you kind of overlook. Like there is this whole section where like he literally like his life falls apart because of this.
I mean, there's some cute moments.
Yeah.
But overall, it's like.
Yeah, I agree. We're gonna go Home Alone 2.
Okay. All right. So that means our final is Elf versus Home Alone 2. Both New York based.
I'm leaning towards Home Alone 2.
I am too. I'm trying to separate my nostalgia. Because Home Alone 2 obviously came out when we were kids. We were definitely older when Elf came. So, like, for me, I'm trying to not let that shade too much. But, like...
Yeah, no, but, like, Home Alone 2... Yeah, I think it's obviously, like, a sequel. But it's one of, like... It's one of the sequels that's, like, just as good as the original, I think.
Yeah, if not better in some ways.
Yeah, but it follows like the same pattern of like he sets up the house to like get the guys, like, but
he sets up his uncle's brownstone.
Yeah, that like he's like doing renovations.
Right.
Yeah. And then like keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yeah, and like the scene in the Plaza Hotel, which like the Plaza Hotel, I think, intentionally became and still is like a destination for the holidays. And it's one of those things. I wonder if my draw to New York City for the holidays would be as strong if it wasn't for this movie. And I don't know. I'll never be able to detach the two. But like as a kid, I don't know if I would have been as drawn to the city this time of year if I didn't see like all the stuff happening in the movie around the holidays. So I also really love the storyline with the woman, the bird lady, and like how sweet Kevin is with her, and like they teach each other things.
Yeah, and then you also have like he's like a good kid. Like surprisingly, like because he always gets in these hijinks and like but like he's definitely a kid who has like a good heart, like whether it's in the first one with the neighbor, like the scary neighbor who he like befriends and then helps save him, which I always thought was weird that like he then just leaves him like after he like saves him. He's just like, okay,
point.
Kid,
yeah, I'll bring you back to your house
now. Like okay, Mr. Irresponsible Adult. Like, what? Like, you realize this kid is alone, like, in a house, and you're just like, take care.
You've been doing fine the last couple
Save
days
you
without
from
me.
2 criminals. But then like he has the toy store owner that he like helps, and he has who gives him the turtle doves, and then he gives one of the turtle doves to the bird woman who like introduces him to whatever that chorus was singing at, like in
what was it? It was a symphony.
Yeah.
She mentioned the name of it, but and like I also thought as a kid, like that was kind of a cool place to live. I mean, I get it. She's homeless. She's not living there by choice necessarily, but I always thought like that was really cool to be able to see. Like she even mentions like all the different, really iconic musicians and singers that she was able to see, which I also thought kind of was a nice way of portraying somebody who is homeless. That's like, she wasn't like down on her luck, like everything's glum and gray and black, and like she was kind of like making the best out of a bad situation. And there's like a little bit of a backstory, right? She kind of like talked about like how she kind of like lost her, I don't know if they were married or like her, her love left, and like there was definitely some backstory to her, and I feel like a lot of movies don't give characters like that a lot of
that
color.
Development. Yeah. I'm leaning towards Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Like, Elf is a great movie. You have the candy spaghetti, like the 5 main food groups: candy corn, candy canes, syrup, like, and sugar. But like, I think I'm more. It's funny because you're saying like you're nostalgic towards Home Alone 2. I feel that way about Elf. Like I feel like I need to like take my nostalgia out of Elf.
Okay.
In order to like look at the 2 movies and be like, which one is the better Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Like, is Elf actually a Christmas movie? Like, or is it a story about like an adopted kid who's looking for his birth father? Who happens to be, like,
that's true.
Who happened to be raised as an elf, and like Santa is like his friend.
And you don't really see anything from Christmas Day on the movie of Elf, because like it's all like the crescendo of the movie happens, Christmas Eve night.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that you see after, they save Santa, they get him out of Central Park, everybody, the Christmas spirit, they're all singing. You just assume everybody went back to their house and went to bed and had Christmas. But then the next thing you pick up is like, Buddy's kind of enmeshed in his family with his father, and they, write a book together, and, but you don't really. And
like he goes visit Papa Elf like over a year later because he has a baby who looks pretty large for like a newborn.
Right.
So like you're looking like at 2 years later, you then like see that he's with
it's like adopted father.
New girl.
Yeah. Whereas like I love the Christmas morning scene from Home Alone 2, and I still say to my brother every year Christmas morning, holy smokes, it's Christmas. Which Fuller says when they're in the hotel. And, and I remember specifically learning the term omnipresent from this movie. So, it's an interesting thing. Like as a little kid, I was like, I knew what the term omnipresent meant because Fuller says he's omnipresent when Kevin says, I don't think Santa visits hotels on Christmas. He's like, he's omnipresent, man.
Also, the movie literally ends with Buzz getting the room service bill and like laughing and handing it to his dad.
Yep.
And Kevin's in Central Park, and like you hear the dad scream, Kevin! Right. Like it's just such a great moment of ending where it's just like, oh, you know exactly what's gonna happen next. Yep. That boy's gonna get his butt beat. Like
right, because like the first one ends with Buzz yelling, Kevin, what did you do in my room?
Yeah.
Which is just like, yeah, okay, so he messed up your room, like, you're both kids, but like, no, now his dad's upset that he ran up this bill on his credit card, which there was a couple years ago, I think I looked in it, because it shows you like the charges on the bill and the total, and I was like, what would that equate to in today's dollars? And I can't remember, but it wasn't I mean, it was a high room service bill for sure, but I'm like, based on all of the issues that they had, I'm sure they probably worked out something with like, you let a 9-year-old charge all this stuff to the room? Like, are you guys insane?
Yeah.
So
To bring it back to the hobby, it sounds like he got like into the eBay store or like the eBay account of his dad. Like,
that's
I'm
true.
not paying for this. My son
My
bought
kid
this
charged
card.
me.
Cancel this sale.
That's a good point.
I think we have to go with Home Alone 2,
Yeah.
New York.
Which is interesting because that list had Home Alone crowned, and we don't know because Home Alone 2 wasn't on that bracket.
Right.
So we don't know if they were kind of putting the two together. But Home Alone 2, I agree, I think is better or more enjoyable. It's a little bit more fun than Home Alone 1. They're both great. And I know there are some people that say it's, you can't, it's almost like you can't have Home Alone 2 without Home Alone 1, therefore Home Alone 1 has to be better than Home Alone 2. I understand people that say that, but I think agree to disagree.
I think you could have Home Alone 2 without Home Alone 1.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really make sense that like they lost him again.
Right, like, but it's just a couple little parts in the movie that would be like, you just take those out.
Yeah, and like the sticky the wet bandits
become the sticky bandits. Yeah.
And like, so like they wouldn't know him, but he would still have issues with them because they're robbing the toy store where he's been hanging out. So like, I think that potentially you could take out some little pieces and it wouldn't destroy the plot. Whereas like there are other movies as a sequel, if you took out references to the first, you would destroy the entire plot.
Right.
Like the whole plot would crumble.
And you could actually inverse the two stories. You could have Home Alone 1 be Home Alone 2. You could have it be where like the sticky bandits get out of jail and they go and track this kid down to get them in jail, and they're going to go and raid his house, and all this stuff could be switched around and it would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
It would be a little creepy with two grown men tracking down a little kid to get their revenge, but they're villains for a reason. So
yeah, they're criminals for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a winner. Like our bracket brings us a winner. I do want to do an honorable mention though.
Okay, I'm here for it.
A movie that we did not mention, and the reason why I want to mention it is because when I was telling my mother-in-law that we were filming this today and I was explaining what it was, she actually pointed out to me that one of these, and this movie was not on the bracket, so that's why I waited, but one movie that she thought should be on our bracket was Christmas Chronicles, which was a Netflix special.
Yeah.
The reason she pointed it out is because there's a scene where Santa Claus is trying to get a car from a guy in a bar because he needs like a vehicle, and he magically pulls out a mint copy of the 52 mantle. That's and he hands it to the guy and he's like, I'll give you that for your car. And the guy is just like awestruck and he's like, oh my god. And then the wife, the idiot, hopefully just the date and he can like dump her and not actually wife, but like takes the card and rips it and says, you're not giving your car away for a card. But like,
did she know?
Yeah. Like a $13 million copy of a card that you just ripped up. Could have bought like 50 million cards. No, not 50 million, but like
enough.
Yeah. But anyway, so
so I did see that was on one of the other two lists that I looked at. It was fairly low on the list. I did debate putting that on here, but that is a great call out. I had totally forgotten. If I had remembered that there was a card scene, it probably would have replaced, one of the lower bracket. There's plenty of them. We're down there. And I think over time that might become something that there's more nostalgia because it's a more recent movie.
Yeah, it only came out like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. And I think they've got a sequel already out, don't they? I think there's 2 of them. Or is there a mini series or something?
I don't know. I remember watching the first one when the year it came out. And that's why like when she mentioned it and the scene, I was immediately like, oh, that totally makes sense. Like, but But yeah,
That's a good one. That's a good one. You know, I feel like there's a lot of Christmas movies coming out that, you know, if we were to revisit this list in 5 years, there could definitely be a good number of new entrants, you know. So, like, I was also talking to a friend recently about some movies that we talked about that I think need, you know, a refresh or a remake. Like Polar Express, we talked about, right? You have the technology to make it better. Please, please do it. Um, you know, I'm trying to think. What was another one? I think It's a Wonderful Life could use a remake. The story is a little bit long. You could definitely shorten that, punch it up a little bit. I would love to see a modern version of Miracle on 34th Street. You know, it's been long enough, right? 94 was the last one. You
yeah.
got
So
plenty of time.
40. What was it? 47 to
47 was the first.
94.
Yeah,
Math that.
just less than 50 years.
Yeah, 47 years. So 94 would be 24. No, wait, what?
If we were going to go 47 years
Yeah,
from,
it would be like 20 years from.
it's too long.
Yeah.
We need it more recent.
Yeah.
I can't wait that long. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, if I'm a movie theater, I'm not a movie theater, a movie studio executive, and I'm thinking about, I want to put out a holiday movie, and my options are Red One or the modern retake of Miracle on 34th Street. Come on. Are you kidding me?
The thing I will point out though is like they're totally like they made Red One because of all the superhero movies. So like,
yeah, I get that. I think that I was talking to my wife, and I think that Red One is not going to do terribly well because I think it's kind of sitting in between audiences, right? It's a PG-13 movie. I'm not going to take, you know, we brought our kids to go see Wicked. We brought our kids to go see Moana 2. We're not going to see Red One with them. But I also can't think of a lot of 13, 14, 15-year-olds that are going to want to go and see a Christmas movie with their family or on their own. So I'm like, I don't know what the target audience is. I think that maybe making, I don't know what makes it PG-13, but making it where it fits into the PG category would have opened them up to the right audience. But, you know,
I think usually with the 13, it's like violence and cussing.
that would make sense. Yeah.
So like if you just like cut down the violence, but like I think Santa in this movie is kidnapped, so like that might be too scary for young kids to like learn about, kind of a thing. So it might be the whole premise is, I don't know.
Yeah. But Santa's also like fit, if I remember correctly from the previews. And then Red One is obviously, you know, The Rock, who's massive, and then like he has to go fight Krampus, who's also like this jack demon character. Yeah, it's
Krampus might be why it's 13.
Yeah.
That's a like Scandinavian folklore, like
right.
Not a good thing.
Yeah.
Krampus, like anyone who doesn't know the lore of Krampus, you should look it up. It's scary as F.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not some. There is a Krampus movie that I think touches on a lot of the lore. It's more of a horror movie. It's definitely, some people consider a Christmas movie, but
yeah, I've never seen it. I remember I remember learning about Krampus like as a kid from my Norwegian side of the family, and like being scared to death. Like
yeah. I think that's the point of Krampus, is to scare kids basically to death.
Yeah, like literally will come and kidnap you and kill you if you're bad. Like
yeah. So yeah, again, Red One versus Miracle on 34th Street remake. Come on, please. And
I would agree.
We've seen a lot of remakes, you know, coming out lately, right? Or kind of like prequels to famous, you know, we've got Mufasa coming out. Like, it's not like Hollywood is opposed to making remakes or reimagining. So
look at Ghostbusters.
Yeah. There's a ton of
Like,
them that have come out in the last like 5 years.
yeah.
So come on, let's redo some of these Christmas movies that are 30, 40, sometimes even older than that.
I would say let's redo Polar Express before you do Miracle on 34th.
I'm not opposed.
Because Miracle on 34th, like, either version still plays to today's audience.
True.
Whereas, like, Polar Express, like, you watch it, like, my nieces watched it and they were just like, what is wrong with these? Like, what's wrong with this film?
Yeah.
Because, like, the CGI is just so not where CGI went.
Yes.
Like, they were like, oh, it's breaking technology. And then it completely, like, pivoted away from that kind of...
Yeah. Yeah, they came out with it at a point when CGI was really starting to make some leaps and bounds, but the leaps and bounds that it made since then, it's jarring. And it's interesting too, because like if you go back and watch Toy Story 1, right, you can see where Pixar in their early days knew the limitations. And there are some, there's some little areas where you can see like, oh, that's a little bit rough, but it's the early ages of it. But they didn't really have a lot of those gaps where it still holds up.
Yeah.
That didn't happen in Polar Express. You had a different studio making it. So,
no. Yeah. I think that one, even if it was the same story, like I remember when that came out, I was like, this looks weird. Like it looks creepy. They should have just made it animation.
Yeah. I mean, the eyes are what really kind of creep people out. Is like they look glassy.
Even the movements, like I'm thinking about like the Coco like dancing scene on the train, where it's just like the movements just are so.
It's very Dr. Seuss-esque in how they move, but it's CGI where it's just like these are supposed to be lifelike. Whereas like when you're watching the 1966 Dr. Seuss and people are moving kind of funny and they have extra long necks and kind of spaghetti limbs, you're like, well, it's a cartoon.
But it's also Whoville. Like it's not supposed to be humans. Like so exactly. It's like like maybe that's just how they are.
Right.
Like it's a different reality.
Right.
Like you're in a different universe. Like you can forgive it. Whereas like these are supposed to be humans. So it's just like, this is weird.
Yeah. Well, and one of the reasons too why I was okay with Polar Express coming out of our bracket as early as it did is because I think if it wasn't for the book and me, reading the book with my aunt when I was a kid, I wouldn't have as much of a draw to that movie as a standalone piece, So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was obsessed with the book.
It's so good. It's a good book.
And I hated the movie as soon as it came out.
See, I didn't see the movie as soon as it came out, though. Right? I think I'm trying to remember. Did it come out in what was it? 2004?
I don't know.
I saw it a few years later. Like it was out on I think at the time it was ABC Family, which is now Freeform.
It came out in 2004.
Okay. Was that the same year as Elf? So if those two came out the same year, that would be pretty crazy.
So it says that Polar Express 2 is a sequel that is in early development. Like when I googled Polar Express 2 populated.
Interesting. I mean, I'm here.
03.
Okay, so 1 year after the other.
Yeah.
I'm here for Polar Express 2. I just don't know where you go with that story. I mean, I guess you could play up like him having his own kids and like kind of the bell and all that type of stuff. You said it's a sequel, not a prequel, right?
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Yeah, so it would have to be later. Or, I mean, I guess you could probably follow a story of a different kid going on the Polar Express.
So the first one is 1950s.
That's when the story was written? Or that's when it was set in?
That's when it was set in.
Yeah.
It says it was set in the 50s. It says that it's unlikely to be released before 26, maybe even 27. So, like, we're still 2 years out.
Early development. They're still fine-tuning the story itself.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Supposedly, there's official trailers, but I don't know if these are actually official trailers.
Yeah. sometimes those official trailers are really just like graphics of like the title sequence and stuff. And I'm trying to remember, there was some movie that I saw an official trailer leaked early, and it was like just, showing the graphic of the movie title and like some music, and there were no actual scenes. Disappointing, but yeah.
Okay, hold on. I might have found.
Okay.
I'm on the IMDb. Let's see. No, it just says in development.
Okay.
It says 20 years after the release, it's in development.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not a remake, but maybe it could be like a Home Alone 2 type of thing, where the sequel ends up being better than the original.
Maybe. I mean, as long as they don't use the same CGI, I think.
If they use the same CGI, I'd be like, what's the budget for this movie? Because I could probably fund that. You could probably make better CGI just putting it into like Chat GPT and telling them to put something out. Like, yeah, that's.
Meanwhile, I'm now thinking, should you and I like use some kind of AI to create our own Hobby Christmas Carol?
I've got an idea. I know how you are, and I am sometimes too, with giving free business advice.
We
can talk about that after we stop the recording.
Offline, yeah.
Yes, offline conversation. But I think you got something there.
All right.
We did it. We crowned the champion. And I think we're right. Home Alone 2 is the best.
Yeah, I agree.
And
we had a great cast of movies, and we narrowed it down to one.
There were some tough picks too.
There were.
So, thank you. I hope you have a very enjoyable holiday season.
Thank you, Jake. I
hope you get some time to watch some Hallmark movies.
I think I'm gonna watch Home Alone 2 instead.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
The winner. I think we should both watch it. Thank you for having me on the show. It's always an honor and a pleasure, and I love talking about Santa cards and Christmas things.
There's nothing better.
This was perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone, and to all a good night.